This Friday edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles. What's your favorite sport? Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, maybe wrestling, maybe even boxing. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You can get it at firstroundcollectibles.com. And right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, you get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. Right now, they have an ongoing sale up to 50% off. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Tell them we sent you. Use our promo code Sports Addict for 10% off regular priced and sales priced item. First Round Collectibles, that's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah. I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the
And welcome to Pucks Across Borders on a Friday morning. Good to be here on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports. Lots to get into from last night, as always, after a Thursday. And surprise, surprise, it's the end of the season. We're getting closer. Tomorrow marks the 2-week mark until the playoffs start, which means that tonight we got 6 games on a Friday, boys. Remember when there used to be 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, and 2 games would start at 7 o'clock, and then like the Blackhawks and the Kraken would start at 10:30, and it's like nobody asked for this. But we got a full slate on a Friday. I mean, Ducks and Kraken still finish it off. But anyway, I digress. Good to be here. Introductions, I'm Mark Sauter, and at the top of your screen, right next to me, snuggled up all nice, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. John, how we feeling on a Friday morning, bro?
Feeling pretty good. Got a lot of important action tonight, so let's get to it.
Absolutely. And at the bottom of your screen, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. You read his gambling picks on Winners and Whiners. You see him all over Total Apex Sports, talking football, talking hockey here, talking college hoops, professional basketball, talking MLB. Speaking of which, you got a big date with the Yankees in a couple hours, taking on my boys, the Blue Jays. And I can't even like trash talk or anything because the Blue Jays are trash themselves. So anyway, Andre, how we feeling on a Friday, bro?
Oh, it's a beautiful day to just wake up and be alive, isn't it? I will say though, if you think you see me at the Yankees game, you haven't.
All right, let's get right.
I feel like the audio cut out.
Yeah, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just saying, it's a great day to be alive. If you see me at the Yankees game, you really didn't, though. It's not me. It's somebody else.
Don't say hi. I don't got time. Let's get right into it from last night. Like I said, 6 games to dive into tonight on the sked. Last night, some really important matchups. We're going to get into whatever we really find reasonable. John, let's start with you, man. What's your takeaway in the NHL last night?
Noticing the Western Conference playoff race, I think there were 2 significant games in that played out last night. The first one was between the Preds and the Blues, which I said on yesterday's show. I thought St. Louis had to win that game to have any realistic chance of making the playoffs. Unfortunately for them, they came up short, and now they're down by, I believe, 8 points with 6 games left. So I think it's looking very, very unlikely that St. Louis. I was already skeptical that they were going to make a push, but I think they're really fallen too far behind at this point to really take it seriously. And I'll add a bonus in there too. The Wild also lost bad to the Avalanche last night, and I think they're in a similar boat as the Blues. Both of these teams are falling 7 or 8 points behind with 6 or less games left. So, and that's if the Wild win their next one. So, like, I think we're getting more and more set for the 8 teams in the Western Conference, at least. East might come down to the wire, though.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, St. Louis needed that win last night. They were in the game for the majority of it. S.O.S just had himself a time, man. He had such a good game last night, and that's what the Preds need down the stretch and going into the playoffs. And you're right. 7 points back are the Blues. 10 points back are the Wild. This one is all but over. Now it's just jockeying for position, right? Vegas, 92 points, third in the Pacific. Kings, 91 points. They're in the Pacific Division as well. So Vegas, Kings could flip-flop. Nashville and whoever finishes fourth in the Pacific could flip-flop. In the wild card seeding, Edmonton and Vegas, or the Kings, even for that matter, could flip-flop in the 2-3. Colorado, Winnipeg, Dallas. Like, so there is division placement 1 to 3 and the wild card position. So the 1 through 8 could flip-flop around a little bit, but I think you're right about that. What the teams that we see in the West, those are the teams that are going to make it into the playoffs. I was rooting for the Blues, just like you just want some drama down the stretch with 2 weeks left, but I think you're absolutely right. That's all she wrote for the wild card races in the West. Andre, what about you, bro? What did you see from last night?
Yeah, that was a huge game for the wild card races. Talking about the Predators and I don't know what my brain just shut down there. Looking at last night, though, the Panthers, big win. Good for them to get back on track with that 6-0 in Ottawa. They had been struggling so bad, and I know at this point they probably dug themselves too deep of a hole to catch up in the Atlantic, to catch up for the top of the Eastern Conference. But like we were saying yesterday, you don't want to limp into the postseason. You want to have some confidence. You want to have some momentum, even if you are the reigning Eastern Conference champions. So for them to be the team they were supposed to be and then do it by 6 goals, shutout win, you can't really ask them for much more than that, especially on the road. So that was my takeaway. Panthers get back on track.
Yeah, now the Panthers and the Bruins do play tomorrow, so in the afternoon, I believe. So if the Panthers do want to leapfrog and get into that number 1 seed, tomorrow is your chance to gain some ground. If they lose that game tomorrow, then you're absolutely right. Boston and Florida are pretty much locked at the 1 and the 2. For me, I mean, we got to talk about it, boys. The Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Washington Capitals 4-1. And what was impressive to me about this win, so first of all, the implications, right? Pittsburgh wins. Clearly, Washington loses by default. And so Washington now 82 points, bumped out of a wild card spot with the Islanders winning. I talked to our boy from Total Apex Sports, Vinny, yesterday, and to say he's apathetic is probably an understatement. The most depressed fan to have a team who is in a playoff race. It was very, very funny to have a conversation with him about it. But the Islanders at 83 points now with their win last night. So Washington bumped out Pittsburgh 81 points, 2 points back of a playoff spot. Not only the wild card with the Islanders, but Philadelphia. They got 83 points. They play Buffalo tonight. That is a huge game. Anything to do with Buffalo is not normally on my bingo card on a Friday night, but guess what, man? No offense to you, Buffalo. Unless I'm in your city, I'm not really worried about you. But But that's a huge game tonight, and with all the fun matchups, that's actually kind of a must-watch, especially with the torch drama, especially with all that stuff going on. So I'm really curious to see how that goes. Washington does play tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes. That's a big matchup. Spoiler alert, I think they're going to get smoked. So Pittsburgh is right there, man. The Islanders, Philly, 83 points each. Washington, 82. Pittsburgh, 81. Of course, you have Detroit to deal with in there as well. But this Met just gets more and more interesting. And it's a weird world where Carolina and the New York Rangers are the two most boring teams in the Met when you got all these other average at best teams battling for that third spot and a wild card. So really interesting to watch down the stretch. The big thing for me with that game last night, though, if you're looking at that game, what did we talk about previously, right? It was that big win against the Devils, Crosby getting 2 goals, Malkin getting 2 goals, Carlson getting a goal. I said yesterday their big boys have to show up. Well, guess what? Ryan Shea comes out and scores his first goal of the year. Who is Ryan Shea? I have no idea. Pierre-Olivier Joseph or Olivier Joseph, he gets a goal. Who's that? I have no idea. Michael Bunting, I know who he is because he played for the Maple Leafs. They got him in the Jake Gensel trade. He gets a goal. And then Lars Eller, he gets a goal. So none of their big boys score last night. They still find a way to get a convincing win over Washington. Really good to see from them down the stretch. And we'll see what happens. All right. We didn't get into this during the pre-show, so I have no idea. This segment could flop historically, but we'll see what happens. John, you got a bad beat from last night, bro? I don't think you did. I think you did pretty well last night.
Yeah, honestly, looking back at the games from yesterday, I'm not going to say I didn't lose a single game, but I didn't lose many. If I had to pick one, I'm not even sure if I picked this way, but I think I did. The Lightning Canadiens game, I remember thinking that was going to be lower scoring than it turned out to be.
Yeah.
That ended up being a really bad call because that game went well over. So I think that's the only game I'd say that's a bad beat. Like, had a pretty good night overall.
Yeah, that game almost doubled the over. So anyone who picked under, that's a tough loss. A bad beat to say the least. Andre, what about you, man? You did pretty good last night too, no?
I did do pretty well last night, but there is a bad beat. Well, the Sharks, for one, played some solid defensive hockey last night.
Yep.
Held the Kings to 2 goals, which, Kings comfortably won anyway. They didn't cover the puck line, though, because San Jose, you didn't have to score with 2 minutes left. That was just unnecessary. Game was over. You weren't getting a point. Just go home. Let my bet slip win, But you couldn't do that for me. So that -1.5 parlayed with the Kempe goal out the window, burst up in flames, whatever you want to call it. 2 minutes left.
I know. And they got third shots in that third period. And one of them was with 2 minutes left and they got a goal. It's brutal. And I loved your Blackwood over 29 saves last night. I loved that so much. And the Kings finished with 27 shots total. So just missing that by 4 shots. Listen, boys, we had a terrific parlay last night. I can't remember who was who, but I know we picked the over in the Flames Jets cashed. The under in Penguins Capitals, that cashed. We also had the over in Florida and Ottawa. And listen, it's April. Playoffs are in 2 weeks. Nobody should be talking about the Ottawa Senators at this time of year. But you know what? I'm going to. I promised you, the viewers, I promised you, my brothers and co-workers, and I promised myself that I would not go on an Ottawa Senators rant. But guess what? We picked the over 6.5 last night in Panthers Senators. Panthers all by themselves put up 6 of those 6.5 goals, and the Ottawa Senators on I know that Ottawa is Ottawa, but Florida's hit a rough stretch here, man. They haven't been playing well, losing to the Leafs, losing to Montreal, and you can't get 1 goal against this team to cash a ticket. So frustrating. We miss out on a parlay sweep. We miss out on the over 6.5 because the Ottawa Senators could not lose 6-1. They had to lose in an even more embarrassing fashion of 6-0. Oh, and you're at home. Oh, and Brady Tkachuk got 0 penalty minutes. You did everything that I thought you needed to do to at least be halfway competitive in this game, and you fall flat on your face, and you cost me a plus whatever it was parlay, and now, man, I was in a good mood, and now I got myself fired up. So with all that being said, let's just move right into 6 games in the NHL tonight. We got a Friday to enjoy. Andre's got a day at the ballpark, so let's get right to it. Philadelphia Flyers, Buffalo Sabres, Buffalo home -125. Philly +105 on the road. The over is -6, at -115, and the under is -105. +1.5 for Philly is -245, and -1.5 for Buffalo is +200. John, let's start with you here, man. What do you see in this game tonight?
An important game for sure. We looking at these two in the standings. We're talking about the Flyers and the Sabres here. So 77 points for Buffalo, 83 points for Philly. Philly's hanging on to that last Metropolitan spot.
Man.
Yeah. So they're hanging on by a thread. I don't really love the way they're playing right now, though. I don't love the way Buffalo is playing either. I'm still leaning towards the Sabres just for momentum purposes, and also a little home ice edge for them as well. I mean, Philadelphia only scores 2.87 goals a game. I mean, Buffalo's not much better, but I think I trust their scoring a little bit more right now, leaning slightly towards Buffalo.
What about you, Andre? What do you see in this game tonight?
Yeah, the Sabres have just been so inconsistent lately. It's kind of hard to know what to do with them. And I mean, honestly, I feel like we've been saying that all season, so I don't know why I said lately, but yeah. So I guess got to pick on the Flyers here. 5 losses in a row. In that last playoff spot by default because nobody else wants it. They are 9-11-2 against Atlantic Division teams this year. 9-13 if you want to get rid of the losers' points. They struggled against the East. They actually have a losing record against both Eastern Conference divisions. I think for that reason and that reason only, well, I guess not that reason only because they also have the losing streak, I'm going to take the Sabres here. But I don't really know what to do with the Sabres team because you don't know what you're going to get from them every night. So I'll stick with the -125.5. -125. I don't know why I said half. Just keep it simple for this one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have a $20 financial investment in the Buffalo Sabres missing the playoffs. So for that reason, I'll just throw this out there. 77 points, 6 points back. All these teams basically have the same amount of games left. Buffalo has 6 games left, so does Philly. Buffalo making the playoffs, more than likely not going to happen, but hey, it's still there. It's still, like, mathematically, it's still around. Must win for them. As you both mentioned, Flyers 2-5-3 in their last 8, 5-game losing streak, as Andre said. They're 7-15 in their last 22 games, and there's overtime losses in that 15. But just to keep it simple, as Andre said, they're 7-15 in their last 22 games. This is what concerns me about the Philadelphia Flyers, right? I mean, there's lots of things I'm sure we could pick apart about Philly. And if you've watched the show for any amount of time, you know that I love the Flyers and I'm rooting for them. And Philly's my city, man. I really love that city. Second favorite city to Toronto. So, Toki, I don't know. We'll do our favorite cities ranking in the summer. My point is this. Philadelphia, they have allowed in their last 5 games 4 goals, 5 goals, 4 goals, 6 goals, and 4 goals. I know they brought the homie in from Russia, Fedotov, but looks good. He's a big guy. Apparently, in the KHL, he's been killing it. But this is his second game in the NHL. I think he's starting tonight. In that same 5-game stretch, they have scored 3 goals, 1 goal, 1 goal, 5 goals, 1 goal. So that's the part to me that's really concerning. This Buffalo team can put up 6 for no reason. And Philly can't get a save to save their lives right now. Sabres 5-5 in the last 10. The last 6 wins for Buffalo, just the wins, they have scored 6 goals, 5 goals, 4 goals, 6 goals, 4 goals, and 7 goals. And so when they're winning, they're putting up big numbers. And for that reason, I'm picking Buffalo tonight too, man. I just think Philly's had a really tough couple months. They've had a really tough couple weeks. They can't buy a save. And when Buffalo wins, man, they're scoring a bunch of goals. They're at home. I think Buffalo wins this game as well, minus 125. And with what we've seen from the Flyers, I know they fought back to get a point against the Islanders the other night, but I would consider a minus 1.5 play here at plus 200. I just think the Flyers are going the opposite direction at the wrong time. I will say on the Buffalo side of things, Tage Thompson finally kicking it into gear. 6 goals in his last 5 games. He is plus 140 to put one in the back of the net tonight. All right, moving on to Detroit, where your boys, Andre, the New York Rangers, are in Detroit. Plus 114 are the Red Wings at home. Minus 135 are the Rangers on the road. The over is 6 at minus 112. The under is minus 108. Minus 1.5 for the Rangers is plus 180. Plus 1.5 for the Red Wings is minus 218. Andre, you going to do a little double header, man? You're going to go to the Yankees game and then hit up a bar after and watch the Rangers game? That's a good Friday night, bro. Andre, what do you got in this game, dude?
I wish I had my helicopter like Dion. I would just fly to the Rangers game, hit up Detroit. Slight concerns for me about the Rangers defense. It's kind of hard to judge what Wednesday was because of the early ejections. But in the games before that, they'd allowed 5 against the Penguins, 5 against the Yotes, 5 against the Flyers not long before that. So kind of troubling moving forward, I guess, especially against a team like this where they pretty much need to score to win, where they're in desperation mode. But the Rangers have beaten the Red Wings twice already this season, 5-3 and then 3-2. I know that was in November. But the Red Wings haven't been playing great lately. Haven't been scoring. They've been shut out twice in the last 5 games. They only have 1 win in their last 5 games. They allowed 4 goals twice in their last 5 games. I'm tired of talking about the last 5 games because it wasn't very good. I'm going to take the Rangers here. I think I'm going to take it 60-minute line. I would definitely, though, take the over. Rangers giving up a lot of goals right now. Rangers can score a ton of goals. Red Wings, offense is met, but you know the danger is there. Not really worried about their PK or their 5-on-5 defense holding up against New York tonight. So plus 110, 60-minute line in the over.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the goals allowed because that's something that's kind of gone over my head. I don't know if this has been talked about in the New York media or anything like that. I listen to national hockey media, and Toronto sports media, and this is something that I haven't really heard being talked about lately. You're 1,000% right with the over, and I'm glad you mentioned it. Over 6 at -112. 9 of the last 11 games for the Rangers have gone over. In those games, we know the Rangers can score goals. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games, so they're clearly winning hockey games. And you have to win games. Just a reminder for everybody, the way you win in hockey is you score more goals than the other team. So clearly they're winning still, and they're scoring goals. But in the last 11 games, they have allowed 3 goals, 5-5-2, 5-3-2, 4-2, 4, and 6. They're allowing a lot of goals right now. And so to me, I do like the Rangers to win. I like the 60-minute line as well at +110. I don't like the puck line only because we're dealing with a desperate Detroit team, and this team can score when they want to. I like the over. I also, if you don't want to trust the 60-minute line, -135 money line for the Rangers is actually like very, very good value, and I'm surprised it's only at -135. It's a little bit pricey, but I would trust that money line as well. On the prop side, 6 goals in the last 5 games for the for Lafreniere. So I like him to put one in the back of the net tonight. He is +205. And Panarin, 21 shots in his last 5 games. So a shot prop, 4+ shots I like for Panarin. On the Detroit side, really quickly, 4-4-2 their last 10 games, 1-4 the last 5 games. 9 goals, however, for Detroit in their last 5 games. So all that stuff I talked about, the Rangers allowing a bunch of goals, Detroit's not really scoring right now. So I do expect them to have a bit more of a pushback tonight at home, Friday night, put some goals up. Overall, Detroit is 9th in the NHL in scoring. So I do believe that they will right this ship, at least the scoring side of things, and get some goals tonight. So give me the over and give me the Rangers money line or 60-minute line. John, what do you see from this game tonight?
I've been really going back and forth while you guys were monologuing about what to pick, seeing if one of you can sell me on something, and we're getting close here. I'm a bit torn because I do think this game can go over. I'm debating if that's the best bet for it. You guys mentioned before how much the Rangers have been allowing, and I know Detroit isn't scoring a lot now, but you guys said it before. These are still 2 of the better scoring teams in the NHL. So I think I would trust there to be some scoring, especially with one side being pretty much due. I've been debating heavily on picking a side. Like I'm so back and forth on it. I think I'm gonna stick with the over because it's too tight of a call for me to go either way. But if I would go with the Rangers, I would go with the 60-minute line. I do think they can win it in regulation. I don't know. I'm a little shaky on it, so I think the over is a slightly better play here.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page when it comes to that. I forgot to mention, I did mention Panarin, 21 shots in his last 5 games. I forgot to give out the odds for that. Over 3.5 is -105. So that's what I like in that play. And we're all in consensus here on the over. All right, moving on to, I think this game is going to be an absolute gong show. You might look at this and you might say, Carolina, Washington. Washington's right there for a playoff spot. -270, +220. I think this is absolutely fitting. Carolina -270, Washington +220 on the road. The odds have shifted. A little Washington money coming in, +215 now are the Capitals on the road. -265 are the Hurricanes. The over is 6 at -105. The under is -115. +1.5 for the Capitals is -115. -1.5 for the Hurricanes is -105. The This is right up John's alley. And John, I'm going to steal your thunder because you harp on this all the time. -1.5 for Carolina is -105. +1.5 for the Capitals is -115. We look at these odds every single day, and +1.5 is always high 100s, always. Mid 100s at the lowest, right? So this is super telling to me. Washington 5-4-1 in their last 10, 4-game losing streak. In their last 4 games on this losing streak, they have been outscored 6-18. 18-6 in this 4-game losing streak. Carolina 7-2-1. Now it's weird for Carolina. They lost 4-1 against Boston last night. Won 3-0, won 4-0, and lost 4-1. So a couple shutout wins sandwiched between 2 4-1 losses. Listen, both these teams played last night. Both these teams lost 4-1. Carolina is the better team. They're at home. Bounce back spot for both of them. I think Carolina, or the Capitals rather, are losing their legs a little bit here. They're going to get spanked tonight. -1.5 for Carolina. I would lean -2.5. But with the odds the way they are, I'll just take -1.5 at -105 and leave it at that. John, what do you got here, bro?
Very good tell there. I think that's the first thing that sticks out to me about this game as well. Maybe I want to take the bait too much with this, like the puck line here. It's like they're throwing it near even money and they're making the money line unbettable. Maybe this is a big bait by the sports books, but I think I'm going to jump on it. Both these teams in a back-to-back. I do trust Carolina to have the stronger legs in this one. I also just think they're the better overall scoring team, so that makes the back play even tougher for Washington. Bottom 5 team in the NHL in goals per game, going up against a team that does pretty well, I would say, top 8 team. We've talked about Carolina's goaltending as well, so I think that can help the Canes win by 2 here. So I'm with you, Mark. I think I'm going to take the puck line.
I can read lips. I think I got all of that. I'm going to go with the Canes -1.5 here. It's not. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Washington, 4 straight losses, haven't really been competitive outside of the Bruins loss. Kind of running out of steam here. It's the second half of back-to-back for them. They had to fly south to O'Reilly to take on their old Southeast rival. The Canes, home for the second straight night, kind of in desperation mode now if they want to win the East, if they want to win the Metro. You need to gain 5 points in 5 games or 6 games they have left. So running out of time, and they do have the Bruins again. So it's another tough game coming up for them. This is 2 that they need. This is 2 they're absolutely going to have. I cannot see the Capitals scoring more than 2 goals in this game. I'd be surprised if they scored more than 1. Canes -1.5 all the way.
Absolutely love it. All right, moving on to, without a doubt, if you argue me on this, you're wrong. It's quite that simple. I like to remain as humble as I can, but here it's just a no-brainer. Game of the night, Colorado at Edmonton. Now, is it the game of the night as far as importance? Clearly not. However, this is the most entertaining game of the night, right? Colorado at Edmonton. Last time these 2 teams played, went to overtime. Colorado coming back, overtime win. I can't wait for this game tonight. Finally, the NHL giving us a Friday night late game that I can actually stand watching. I don't have to watch Chicago and Los Angeles 2 weeks in a row. So Colorado in Edmonton. Edmonton -130, Colorado +110, over 6.5 at -130. The under is +110, +1.5 for Colorado is -218, -1.5 for the Oilers is +180. Andre, we'll go to you first, man. What do you see in this battle of the juggernauts between Colorado and Edmonton.
Yeah, the schedule makers, they tried to get me. Second half of a back-to-back for Colorado. They're on the road for this one. It's poor circumstances, generally speaking, when you're looking at a schedule. But I'm taking them anyway. They beat this team. They beat the Oilers in Edmonton 3-2. Less than a month ago, it was March 16th. I think the Avalanche are better and are playing better right now. Like we said yesterday, I don't think the Oilers against good teams have showed up. The numbers kind of prove that. The record kind of proves that. This is a chance to bounce back from the Stars game. I think they'll actually score this time. I don't think they're going to win, though. I think the Avs are too good. I think the Avs know the importance of this game. I don't think the second half of a back-to-back is really a major factor for a team as good as the Avs. So some teams, you can just kind of check that out the window. I think this is one of them. Yes, the Oilers are good. I respect them. They have the talent, whatever. I'm taking Colorado plus 110.
What do you got, John?
I think I'm leaning in the opposite direction on this one. I'm actually taking Edmonton because of the back-to-back. Colorado is the top scoring team in the NHL, but Edmonton is one of the few teams I think that can keep up with them. They're number 4 in the league, and they're not much behind. Slightly better power play for the Oilers as well. One thing I'm going to be interested in seeing is if Colorado has the goaltending to keep up with Edmonton here. They're nearly even in this department. Edmonton allows 2.88 per game, Colorado 2.96. But I think home ice and the fact that they didn't play last night makes me lean Edmonton in this one, but I do see the argument going the other way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm bouncing back and forth on this. I think under 6.5 at plus 110 is excellent value. I'm kind of copping out when it comes to that, but that's kind of how I feel about it. Last time these two teams played, Colorado 3-2 in overtime, like I mentioned earlier. These teams play one more time, so we only got that one game of history to look back on. I really do like the under here. I think being plus money, 6.5, I'll take that all day. These two teams do score a lot of goals, yes, but I do think that the offensive talent kind of cancels each other out when it comes to their defensive play. Both teams defensively 10th in goals against for Edmonton, 13th in goals against for Colorado. And the kind of uncertainty when it comes to their goaltending, as good as Skinner has been, as good as Georgiev has been, the uncertainty they kind of have back there does mean they have to play a tighter defensive style. So I like this under here. All is right with the world, Andre. I disagree with John. I agree with you. It feels right. It feels good. I like Colorado plus money on the road here, and it's just recent trends. I just like the way. Yes, Colorado had that weird game against Columbus, 4-1. But all these losses have been close for Colorado. Besides that one. And really, that loss against Columbus, the goaltender had a day, and that happens sometimes. Beating Minnesota, who is not the Oilers, granted, but they're a team fighting for a playoff spot. At least they were. Beating Nashville, beating So I don't know. I like the Avalanche here. Not going to get too much more in on it. McDavid and McKinnon. McKinnon 4 goals in his last 5. McDavid 3 goals in his last 5. The one prop that I really do like here, McDavid, 97 assists, 3 away from 100. McDavid over 1.5 points is minus 110, which to me seems like pretty good value. And I'm going to take it. I think that he gets at least 2 helpers tonight, maybe even a goal and a helper. So I like McDavid over 1.5 points at minus 110. And McKinnon is the same thing. Over 1.5 points for McKinnon is -110 as well. Kucherov is scoring points in bunches right now. And if both these players want to keep up with Kuch, they got to put up some points tonight. So I like both McDavid and McKinnon over 1.5 points, -110. All right, moving on. The Vegas Golden Knights are in Arizona, who made the news yesterday and this morning. And I don't really want to talk about it because who knows what's actually going to happen. But they unveiled on social media a video with a new plan of a entertainment district and condos and blah, 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 blah. We'll see what happens. I'm rooting for you, Arizona, but I'll believe it when I see it. Arizona +1.5 at home against the Vegas Golden Knights, -180 on the road. The over is 6 at -108. The under is -112. -1.5 for the Golden Knights is +140. +1.5 for the Coyotes is -166. And I want to go to John first because, John, why does it surprise you that Vegas is only +140 at -1.5? I figured we'd be closer to minus money range. What do you see here?
This is an interesting one. I could argue the puck line is a little lower than I would have expected here, especially for 180 money line too. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of that one. I was actually I was almost leaning against Vegas in this game already, but I think that might have just confirmed it. I just have a weird spot. This is an Arizona upset. I'd be willing to take a chance on the money line in this game. I think Vegas is a little more comfortable in the playoff picture now. They might feel like they have some room to breathe again. So this could just be one of those games they look past and slip up. Yotes getting their last laugh in Tempe, maybe. I doubt it. But once in a while, that I think they have the capability of stealing a game. Their penalty kill is a little concerning typically, but Vegas's power play is not great enough for me to worry about that too much. Yeah, like I said, I think this is just one of those weird games I could see Arizona winning.
Andre, what do you see here, bro?
I appreciate John for reminding me of the mullet magic because I was on the fence about this game a little bit, and he sold me. I'm taking Arizona +150 here. I feel like they've been fighting against a pretty tough schedule lately. 1-2 loss to Vancouver. Put up 5 goals against the Rangers. 8-4 win against Nashville. What they lose to Stars? 4-2. Multi-goal loss, yes. They were tight. It was tied in the third period. Empty netter kind of pushed it that way. They're playing well. And I think that should be rewarded, especially since it will be their last home game of the season. Mullet magic one last time. Let's roll with the Yotes. Well, they actually close it, but let's pretend that doesn't happen.
We know that they will be at Mullet Arena next year as well, and I have no idea. The likelihood of this happening is very, very slim, but I want a mullet experience. And not like having like a mullet myself, but going to the mullet, I want to be a part of it. I want to see what that disaster is like. I just one time I want to see what that's like, so maybe I can swing that next year. Listen, no doubt Vegas has been really impressive. It's been tough stretch for them all year long. They got off to a really hot start, but then they've been fighting it, man. They've been fighting it for the majority of the year since that start. And even at the trade deadline, man, they got the big pieces. We know all about it. And they were going through a tough stretch even then. Listen, since then, 7-2-1 in the last 10 games. Big wins against Vancouver, Minnesota, Winnipeg, losing in a shootout, a comeback victory for the Predators, beating St. Louis. The Golden Knights have looked really good, and I'm really impressed by what I've seen by them. They're outscoring opponents 12-5 in their last 3 games. Marchessault, 3 goals in his last 5. He's a lock almost every single night. But let's not forget, I still don't trust it. As well as they've been playing, as well as the turnaround, as awesome as the turnaround has been, and yes, beating Vancouver, Winnipeg, etc., is impressive. Before that stretch, I mean, you're losing games to that same Vancouver team. You're losing to the Blue Jackets, to Buffalo, to Ottawa. So to me, I still don't trust it. And I'm right there with you guys. I think this is a great spot for the Coyotes. And I think the Coyotes win on the money line as well. I think it's a really good spot for them. Like you said, Andre, they've been fighting hard and they've been putting some good efforts together. And they've been scoring a bunch of goals too. Like you said, 5 goals against the Rangers, 8 goals against Nashville. And Nashville was going through their own thing at the time as well. But I really like it too. I will say on the prop side of things for the Arizona Coyotes, there was a time where I was talking about Krause and his shot props every single night. You heard me talk about Clayton Keller and what he's got going on this year. Listen, Bukestad, 4 goals in his last 5 games. He is plus 265 to put one in the back of the net tonight. A guy who scored 4 goals in 5 games plus 265, that's worth a sprinkle in my book. So I like him to get a goal tonight, and I like Arizona. As far as the total goes, I would stay away from that, man. Who knows? I would lean the under, but I mean, that's a crapshoot as far as I'm concerned. Moving on to the last game of the night, and it doesn't matter. The Seattle Kraken, you're done. Anaheim Ducks, you've been done since the season started. Anaheim is plus 140. Kraken's minus 166. The over is 5.5 at minus 118. The under is minus 102. Minus 1.5 for the Kraken at plus 150. Plus 1.5 for the Ducks at minus 180. Andre, what do you have in this game, and who cares?
Nobody cares, and I feel like this matchup has happened 3 times in the past week. So I'm just tired of it. I'm honestly just tired of it. Let's see. Spin a wheel here. The game is in Anaheim. They're plus money. Let's roll with the upset. Why not? No, in all seriousness, this has to be under for sure. I'm honestly not. In 3 games, Ducks have scored 4 total goals against the Kraken. It's hard to trust that offense. I'm going to take the under. And I guess you have to take that Kraken 60-minute line because the other team's not scoring. It feels pretty safe to say you're going to win.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. How do you take the Kraken at the best value and it's minus 110? Personally, I mean, let's just go through these games. Philly, Buffalo, Rangers, Detroit, Colorado, Edmonton, Vegas, Arizona, very compelling matchup. You got enough to gamble on tonight. And then there's the NBA. You got Women's March Madness. You got Men's March Madness to save up your money for tomorrow. You got a million games in the NHL tomorrow, all weekend long. You don't need to gamble on this game. I would take Seattle minus 110 just like you. I would take the under just like you. But let's be real. You got enough to bet on tonight to stay away. John, what do you got?
I'm going the opposite direction. I really like the Ducks in an upset here. Mainly because I believe last time they played each other, the Kraken and the Ducks, and yes, they've played a ridiculous amount of times recently. I think the Kraken had like 10 power play opportunities. So I think they made them the Ducks look embarrassing, though they do that to themselves a lot. Kraken Ducks under. I don't think there needs a lot to be said there. Don't be afraid of the 5.5. I would do it, even though last game had 6 goals. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go think I'm gonna go Ducks win and under.
I know you can lip read, Andre, but I don't think you want to lip read for this whole next segment. So I'll unmute myself. Great show, gents. As always, great week. Let's wrap it up. I got a cranky child on my hands, so let's wrap this up with our bets brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Use our promo code SportsAddict for 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. Number one, STRoundCollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. Andre, what's your best bet, bro?
I wish Boston was playing today. It would have been kind of fitting. I feel good about a lot of these games, though. And I feel the most confident about my team in Detroit and that over. It's only at 6 right now at minus 112. I think that's fantastic value for a bet that should be a lock. So over 6 goals in the Motor City between the Blue Shirts and the Red Wings. Original 6 matchup. John.
The two games I was deciding between are polar opposites of each other, but the one I'm leaning towards is Carolina puck line. I can't see them losing to Washington again. Can't see them only coming up with 1 goal again. They're a much better offensive team. I think you can trust the puck line. And Mark and I seem to be in agreement that it's near even money. So I like that even more.
What was your best bet, Andre?
I took the over in Rangers Red Wings.
Love it. Yeah, great pick by you, John. I'm right there with you with that minus 1.5. Man, slim pickings on this sked tonight, man. The Colorado Edmonton, I'm not going to best bet it. Just sit back and enjoy. I like the Coyotes to win, but I'm not going to lose a parlay on a friggin' Coyotes pick. And Seattle and Ducks, I plan on watching Vegas and Arizona and some baseball. All right, this kid is ready for me to be done. I'll just get right to it. I hate this so much because I really want the Flyers to succeed. Philly, I love you. I love your food. I love your people. You might get a bad rap as far as the fan base goes, but I got your back. I love your city so much, but I'm sorry. I got to pick Buffalo on the money line here tonight. I really do. They're minus 125. I just think you guys, Fedotov, who knows? He could save you guys. But the way that you've been allowing goals and the way that Buffalo can score, I just don't trust it. So give me Buffalo minus 125.
Good week, boys. Really good week. The final best bets, the sure winners. First up, over in the Rangers versus Red Wings. It is 6 goals, minus 112. Follow that up with 2 more Metro teams. The Hurricanes, minus 1.5 at home against the Washington Capitals. I'm sorry, future Stanley Cup champion, Washington Capitals. And then last but not least, Flyers, Sabres. Take that Sabres money line at minus 125. 3-pick parlay, 5 plus 565.
Absolutely love it. That is a way to finish off your week. Everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy all the sports, baseball, hockey, basketball, pro, and college. There's so much to bet on, to watch, and enjoy. So enjoy it. Be safe. FirstRoundCollectibles.com. Promo code SportsAddict for 10% off. Shout out to Total Apex Sports. We will see you guys on Monday.
Go hard.